Fiancee cheated on me, everyone knows, but still being forced to marry her. I am 23 and we were engaged when we both were 18. This was supposed to be an arranged marriage, not love marriage. But after being engaged, we talked and I fell in love with her. I was devoted to her. Everything was going fine, but then after 4 years, 2 years ago, I found that she was cheating on me with her uncle and brother-in-law and a couple more whom I don't know. After finding out, I broke completely and tried suicide and mental breakdown. I confronted her during my desperate state and forgave her because I really loved her. I just asked for one thing, that she stop being in touch with them. As they were family, so I said it can't be helped in extreme situations, like family gatherings and events, but you should try to break all ties. She said no to that. I tried my best, like asking if there is blackmailing or forced or "Oz, I will help you, we will fight together," but all she did was become aggressive towards me, saying I might also be cheating, who knows. Just because she was caught doesn't mean I am loyal. This broke my heart and I lost all love for her. But since our families were very close and all, I gave this proposition to her family, that if they want this marriage to happen, even after all this, they have to marry us at earliest. After she became abusive, I had to consult the elders, so I told her parents. She has no father. Didn't tell mine, as if she was to be married. I didn't want her to feel ahamed at our house. But instead, they all denied anything and ganged up on me. I tried to work on myself after that. She and her family broke all contacts with me. And after 3 months, I tried contacting her because we still were going to be married. She couldn't reply my calls, messages, nor her family. So now I told my parents everything and said I don't want to marry her. But next month they are marrying me to her forcefully. Said even if she destroys me next day, you will marry her. I do not know what to do. Depression, anxiety, self-harm, everything is ducked up, and I barely have been myself these last 2 years. Edit. I'm now in a healthy and loving relationship, and my GF knows about this. She is very understanding and supporting. I felt this might be important info. Story 2. How do I, M26, tell my girlfriend, F26, of 3 years that I'm having doubts about our future because of her low libido without making her feel pressured into sex? Well, it wasn't always so low, even discounting the first few weeks, which I'm sure are crazy in every relationship. For maybe half a year after moving in together, we were having sex more days than we weren't. We would both initiate, maybe me slightly more often, but she was still extremely enthusiastic about it. We would do all kinds of positions and silly playful stuff. Then we didn't do it for a week. Hey, no worries. We've had week-long gaps before. 2 weeks. I'll ask if something's bothering her. No, I just don't feel like it right now. 3 weeks. Okay, this is getting weird. I don't keep detailed track of these things because I think that's neurotic and creepy, but at some point it became normal for us to go weeks to months without sex. At the start I thought this was just some anomalous mood she was going through, but it got to the point where it had been this way longer than it hadn't, and it started to sink in that this might be the new normal that I would just have to get used to. We've been together 3 years now. I almost never initiate anymore because I know what the outcome will be, and every time the thought crosses my mind, it crushes me. If you're about to pipe up with some banal suggestion like taking better care of my hygiene, planning romantic dates, making her surprise gifts, etc., please don't. I also have access to Google and I've done it all. Not that I was slacking on any of these fronts before. It is true that the only time she's seemed enthusiastic about sex at all in recent memory has been after date nights and a few other special occasions, these spaced apart by weeks, but if anything that only reinforces my insecurity. Why is she seeming to use it as a reward now, when before it was just something she wanted to do? I have attempted to broach this topic gently, but she always brushes it off without seriously engaging with me. I feel like I'm getting close to a breaking point, but I don't know how to communicate this to her without making her feel like she has to do things she doesn't want to do to keep me. I just want the attraction to be mutual again. I bet you're wondering if this is tied to other problems in our relationship. Far from it, or if it is the connection is mysterious to me. Outside our sex life, we have what I would consider to be my ideal relationship. We're supportive of each other, we share interests and hobbies which we participate in together, and also have our own things which we encourage each other in. Me the same things. We share everything we have and never argue about money or anything stupid like that. I used to fantasize about spending the rest of our lives together, but lately every time I do I just think of our empty sex life and crumple. 60 more years of thistler. GF libido trailed off and I'm losing faith that it will ever come back. How can I talk about how I feel without implicitly pressuring her? 3. How to deal with coworkers spreading rumors that I slept with my bossy, F21. I've come to find out that my coworkers have for the past 2 months been spreading rumors that I am sleeping with my married boss, M39. They have gone as far as to claim to have seen us out together and made up elaborate stories about completely innocent events to support this rumor. I have heard that I have basically been labeled me as a home wrecking, and even worse. I'm very close with my boss and his entire family, as I have been working at this family-owned company for a very long time from a very young age, and they have truly become like a family to me as I never really had one of my own. I'm also very close with his wife's sister, and so this whole thing has sickened me, and I would hate for something like this to get back to her. I hold a managerial position, and this has caused 90% of my staff to lose respect for my authority. I trace the origin of the rumor to a coworker, F23, who coincidentally is publicly dating my married co-manager, M35, who recently was put on blast by our boss for giving her preferential treatment. I have no doubt that her motive for spreading these rumors was to deflect attention from herself while simultaneously undermining me in front of everyone in order to make her boyfriend look better. I'm sure he has a hand in it, as well as he is a very malicious person. My concern now is, what would be the best way to approach this situation? Should I ignore it and hope it dies down? Should I inform my boss that this is what is going on and let him decide the best way to handle it? I really dislike drama and am trying to find a way to avoid getting too involved or adding fuel to the flames, which is making me lean towards not addressing it. I'm afraid if my boss does get involved, it will only convince others that the rumors are true, and it will make it difficult for me to regain the respect of my coworkers. I do not care what they think of me personally, but being respected is essential to being a good manager in my books. TLDR. Lost respect of coworkers as a manager because everyone thinks I slept with the boss. Best way to handle history. 4. My 4-4M, wife 4-4F, told me that describing our sex life as vanilla is a microaggression. I don't get it. We've been married for almost 25 years, and a few years back when sex started to feel admittedly a bit boring, I started to explore the kinky side of me that had been repressed all these years. I think this really stressed her out, so we never really were able to go there together beyond handcuffs and blindfolds a couple times. Is this really even kinky anymore? Being the overly considerate IMO person that I am, I never really pressed too hard out of sensitivity to her feelings. But recently, when again talking about our sex life, I used what I consider the proper term for our sexual lifestyle, fairly vanilla. She got very upset at me claiming such a term was a microaggression. This, of course, blew my mind, and IMO is the latest in a long line of her seeing and hearing meanings in my actions/words that I am so very not trying to convey. So I disagreed with her, which of course didn't calm the situation. I couldn't see it as a microaggression, and she couldn't accept my use of the term as merely a statement of our sexual reality. Now, I clearly know what vanilla means, and I know what a microaggression is. In her defense, a statement of fact wouldn't really float in a racial context, like using the words, "You're well-spoken," when speaking to anyone of color in the U.S. I'm really trying to see if there is just something I'm missing, because as it is, I'm having doubts as to who I'm seen as in my wife's eyes. TLDR. Could using vanilla to describe your sex life with your partner be a microaggression?